Welcome everyone to a special Pure Farming 2018 video here at Knee Pit Gaming. Today's video is going to be partially about update 1.2, which was just released on the Steam platform for those of you playing on PC, but also it's going to be about the future direction of this game, and in particular my vision for the future of this game, if this game is going to stay relevant as we get closer and closer to the release of the new farming sim game coming up toward the end of this year. So let's go ahead and start out with update 1.2 information, and they start off by letting us know that the Steam Workshop is now supported in the game and on the Steam platform. That's going to make dealing with mods, uploading mods, all of that type of thing, much easier than it currently is. Currently, there are mods available for the game. For the most part, we're just talking about tractors that come from primarily the farming sim series of titles, and that's really it. So you can get those from websites right now. You download them into a certain folder, and then you can import them from within the game. But it takes several steps, and of course, most people aren't going to go through that trouble. The Steam Workshop just makes it so much easier to deal with mods, whether it is adding new mods to your game or removing mods that maybe aren't working properly or you no longer have a desire to use. So this should streamline modding and really help out with that. But we're going to come back to the modding here in a few moments. Let's go ahead and move on to the bug fixes as we're looking here at the full patch notes for 1.2. So they have made some adjustments to the camera rotation smoothness, and that's always something that is welcome anytime, because we spend a lot of time in this game, particularly if you play from outside of the vehicle. If you're not playing from the first person mode, then you spend a lot of time rotating the camera to learn different things that are going on and to make sure that certain things are working correctly. So any increase in smoothness of that particular function is always welcome. Improve stability of the game. This is one that's kind of a miscellaneous type thing. Like if you look at the bottom of the list here, other fixes or minor radio fixes. I mean, these aren't really all that descriptive. So improved stability of the game could be as simple as performance improvements. Maybe they found some things in the code that they've corrected that will make the game run at a higher frames per second. Maybe they have gotten rid of some of the micro stuttering that we've seen. We really don't know, but at least they continue working on the stability of the game. So hopefully we'll start to see some noticeable results in that category. Fix the camera position when entering a vehicle for the first time. Rock colliders have been improved. Fixed a bug with some achievements not possible to unlock in campaign mode. For those of you who spend a lot of time in the campaign mode, that could definitely be helpful. They've also fixed a bug that had to do with hand washing the front loader and any attachments you might have. So those are some basic bug fixes. Now, one thing that those of us who have been playing this game for a while will notice that is missing, and that is AI improvements. Now, I have no way of knowing if they are planning additional work in the future on the AI, but for now, to me, this is a huge omission when I look at the bug fixes and see absolutely nothing about the AI improvements. That is a huge portion of the game that is severely lacking right now. In fact, I would just say it's broken to the point where I don't think it's really possible to use the AI and have any degree of confidence that they're going to get the job done that you task them with. Sometimes you get lucky and they do a pretty good job, but for the most part, they're just not dependable. So that is a huge omission there, and I can only hope that they are planning further improvements in the future for that. Now, if we come down and look under the changes, then what we see is they've added a couple of things to the mod importer. And what this simply means is these are a few things that are now available to be added to the game as new mods. As I mentioned earlier, you can go to websites and have been able to for some time and get new tractors for the game, but that's largely been it. Now they're adding cisterns. This would include things such as the water tanks or the milk trailer. We also have the ability to add new orchard sprayers. That is something that could come in handy. Again, it just gives you more potential models that you can import into the game. Now, for me, I consider what they've done here, the fact that they have added the Steam Workshop support, which is listed as number 3 under changes. I consider this step number 1. And the reason I only consider it step number 1 is, even though I know we've been able to add some very basic type mods for a while now, this is step 1 because this gives us a framework. This is what you need before you can really open the game up to further types of mods. Now, and I've got 2 different types of mods that I'm thinking about. These are by no means the only types of mods, or even the most important types of mods, but they're 2 that come to mind very quickly for me. And that has to do with game mechanics and quality of life. Now, a lot of mods can do a lot of different things, so they might hit a bunch of different items, but game mechanic mods. These are simple options such as the ability to edit how much money we make from certain crops. This would be where that you can increase or decrease the amount of money you make from those, the amount of money that certain things cost within the game, that type of thing. That's what I'm referring to there. Also, really the ability to change most any aspect of the game mechanics, down to how things work in the game. Now, that's a lot to ask from a game that currently allows you to do very little on the modding side, but I think it's going to be necessary, because if this game wants to stay relevant long term, because remember, we're not just talking about the 2018 version of this game. I'm quite sure that the developers plan on having a 2019 or maybe a 2020 version of the game, and so on into the future. So if they want this series and this brand to stay relevant, they need to open this thing up so that they can compete with the farming sim titles. We all know, if you've played the farming sim titles, there are tons and tons of mods available so that you can play that game any way you want to. You can make it as easy or as difficult as you want financially, and you can make as much or as little available to the AI as you could possibly desire. It is completely wide open for you to play however you want to, and I think this game needs to follow suit as absolutely closely as they possibly can in order to stay relevant. Because if they stay where they are, then the audience for this type of game in comparison is going to be very small. You are limiting your audience by limiting the amount of options that you have when playing the game. I just never think it's a good idea for the developers to force upon the players to play the game the way the developers envision it. It might sound good, but it never works out very well, because there's always going to be a group of people, a certain percentage of your market, that loves to play the game exactly the way you lay it out. But there would be a much larger percentage of people that would love to play the game if you would just let them play the game the way they want to. I'm hoping that the mods, with this being step 1, I'm hoping step 2 increases the amount that you can do with mods to change the game. So those are game mechanic type mods. Then the second thing is quality of life mods. Now, these are very simple things, and you can really take that to mean a lot of different things, but what I'm talking about is quality of life mods would be things like the ability to speed up the tractors. Now, these tractors in the game, and I'm aware tractors in real life are not built for speed, but it certainly never hurts to have the ability to go much faster, because you can get things done so much quicker. There's something to be said about having to drive across the map at 17, 18, 19 miles an hour when you could be going 30 miles an hour or 35 miles an hour. No, it may not be realistic, but it certainly helps you get stuff done much quicker. And for a lot of people, including me, it helps you to have more fun in the game, because it gives you more time to do the things that you want to do, rather than being, really buckled down and hampered by ultimate realism. More realism isn't always the answer. Okay, so faster tractors, the ability to have the tractor simply go faster, larger capacity trailers. And you can do that any number of ways, but the ability to have trailers where, as an example, if we had a larger capacity loader so that we could work with the manure and it take fewer scoops, and fewer loads in the trailer to get it all done, that would be awesome. Right now, generally it takes 2 deliveries in the manure trailer to get 100% or around 100% of the manure gone if your manure pit is at 100%. So why not have the ability to add in a loader, a front end loader, that has a much larger capacity? And instead of being 2 or 3% of the manure loaded each time, why not the ability of 10%, 20%, 50%, whatever you want, so that we can make this game, some of the more tedious tasks that we do over and over and over, make them take less time. It would be great if we could assign a lot of this to AI, but with that not being in the picture right now, as the AI system in this game is just not very good, then it would sure be nice if we're going to be forced as the player to do everything ourselves, it would sure be nice if we could do a lot of these things quicker so they would become a lot less tedious. So those are some of my thoughts on how I hope that this becomes step 1 in the modding support, and this game can stay relevant in the future, particularly the near future, as we get closer to the end of the year when the new farming sim title is going to be released. All right, now so let's go over into the game itself, and I'll show you a couple of the changes there dealing with the modding. Now we're here in game, and I am under the mods tab, and you can see now in the past we've had the importer here for quite some time. Okay, you've had the ability to any mods that you've actually placed within the particular folder that you wanted to add to the game, that could be done here. But now we have a workshop exporter, and this is for those of you who are going to be looking to add mods and creating mods for the game. This is what you're going to be using to streamline the ability to get these mods onto the workshop for the rest of us to have an opportunity to use. Right now we just have machine export as the only option here. And then if you look within, you have ability to load or create an item, and then you have the ability to add a model. So here is where you're going to define what your mod looks like once you get it onto the workshop. So you've got the ability to put an image here, title your mod, description, the different tags for what type of mod you have, and some changelog information down at the bottom. Once you've got all that taken care of, you would simply hit the send to workshop button, and you're done with that. So let's go ahead and close that and go back into the importer. So the importer, one of the things that I have done is, before I started recording this video, I went to the workshop, and there's currently, as of this recording, only one item in the workshop, and that is a modded buggy. So I clicked on subscribe next to that, and you see it show up right here. Now, it's not currently in my game. I've not added it to the game. In order to have it available in game, I need to hit the plus sign. Now it will be loaded into the game. Whenever I go to a map, I should be able to purchase this particular vehicle and use it in my gameplay. So very simple from that perspective. It makes it much easier for you to add and remove mods from your particular gameplay. I love that aspect. And again, as I mentioned in the first part of this video, I'm looking for big things and hoping for big things as they continue to increase their support of mods. So that's going to do it for this particular special episode. And I hope you'll stay tuned for more coverage of Pure Farming 2018 here at Knee Pit Gaming.